Method and scope of study. Finding God through math, the explorer of number 1. Welcome. My name is Agus, and this is the beginning of a journey to find God through mathematics. Before we step through any gate, before we explore any number, I need to lay down the foundation. This first video is about boundaries, about method, about what this exploration is and what it is not. If you're watching this, you might be skeptical. You might be curious. You might be seeking. Whoever you are, I invite you to listen with an open mind and a discerning heart. Let's begin. The birth of this work. This book, and this channel, is born out of a long process of reflection. For years, I wrestled with a question that many of us face. How do I move from inherited faith to experienced faith? How do I move from knowing about God to truly experiencing the reality of divinity? My search led me to an unexpected place, mathematics. Not as a cold, sterile science, but as the universal language of cosmic order, a language that transcends culture, time, and human limitation. I discovered that mathematics can open a pathway to understanding the oneness of divinity, the principle that ultimate reality is one, without division, without equal. But here is the crucial point, and I cannot emphasize this enough. The symbols, formulas, and expressions you will encounter in this series are merely analogies. They are metaphors, instruments of contemplation. None of them are intended to define or determine the essence of divinity itself. That reality remains forever beyond the limits of human reasoning. Think of it this way. When I show you the number 1, I am not showing you God. I am showing you a mirror that reflects a principle, the principle of unity, that points toward the mystery of divinity. Method of approach. So how do we approach this exploration? I use 3 complementary methods. First, symbolic-mathematical approach. I employ mathematical symbols as conceptual representations for understanding the principle of unity. The number 1 is used as the emblem of fundamental oneness, but not as the literal identity or representation of the principle of God. The plus sign is employed to signify the creative act, the command of God, kun, which means, be, the command that unveils the multiplicity of creatures in the universe. When I write 1 + 1 + 1, continuing infinitely, this serves as a metaphor for the diversity of creation. All these distinct beings, all these separate entities, nevertheless originate from the same singular source. Second, philosophical spiritual approach. This methodology integrates logic, mathematics, philosophy, and spirituality to present a new perspective in understanding the concept of oneness. The entire exposition is intended as deep reflection and a search for meaning, not as the establishment of religious law or formal understanding of God that binds belief or practice. I'm not a scholar issuing religious rulings. I'm a seeker sharing what I've discovered. Third, complementary approach. This is perhaps the most important point. The approach I'm using is not intended as a substitute for theology, science, or any particular school of thought. On the contrary, it functions as a complement, aiming to broaden the horizon of thought and understanding. The philosophy of mathematical unity of God positions itself as a mirror of intellectual reflection, not as an authority issuing doctrinal rulings. I'm not here to replace your faith tradition. I'm here to offer another lens through which you might see it more clearly. Limitations of study. Now, let me be crystal clear about the limitations of this work. There are 4 crucial boundaries. First, conceptual limitation. God, exalted is He, cannot be identified, equated, or reduced to any number or mathematical symbol. The number 1 used in this context is solely a symbolic emblem meant to affirm the principle of unity in the order of creation, not a representation of the principle of God. God is not a number. God is not mathematics. God is not reducible to human symbols. The symbols only point. They do not contain. Second, methodological limitation. This work has nothing to do with numerology, fortune-telling, or mystical practices of numbers. There is no discussion of lucky numbers, destiny calculations, or supernatural interpretations of specific numerals. If you're looking for numerology, you're in the wrong place. This is philosophy, not magic. This is contemplation, not divination. Third, understanding of God limitation. No part of this series is intended to replace ritual obligations of worship or the established laws of religion. The entire discussion is philosophical and contemplative in nature, without any practical implications for the performance of religious duties. Your prayers remain your prayers. Your fasting remains your fasting. Your obligations remain your obligations. This exploration adds depth to understanding. It does not alter practice. Fourth, scientific limitation. All mathematical expositions presented are metaphorical and philosophical in nature. The discussions are not meant to replace, modify, or oppose the laws of physics, cosmology, or other exact sciences that have been empirically verified. I respect science. I respect mathematics as a discipline. What I'm doing here is using mathematical concepts as philosophical tools, not challenging scientific facts. Openness to dialogue. I want to make something clear about my intention. This channel does not claim a monopoly on truth. I do not claim absolute superiority over other approaches to understanding. Rather, I invite you, whether you are a believer of any faith tradition, a skeptic, an atheist, a scientist, or simply a curious mind, to engage in constructive dialogue and collective reflection. The fundamental question we're exploring is universal. What is the meaning of oneness within the reality of existence? You don't have to agree with everything I say. You don't have to adopt my framework. But I hope you'll walk with me, think with me, and perhaps discover something you hadn't seen before. Every voice matters. Every perspective adds richness to the conversation. I'm not here to convert you. I'm here to share my journey and invite you to reflect on yours. The spirit of this work. At its core, this series is not written to add complexity or confusion to understanding. It is meant to bring forth the illuminating light of contemplation. Every analogy I build, every symbol I employ, every line of exposition is meant to guide you closer to a single fundamental awareness. That all multiplicity of beings, all dimensions of time, and all spaces of the cosmos ultimately return and point back to the One, He who encompasses and embraces all. When you see a tree with 1,000 branches, you might marvel at the diversity. But trace those branches back, and they all emerge from one trunk. Trace that trunk down, and it emerges from one seed. This is the mathematics of creation. This is the geometry of existence. From one, infinite diversity flows. And in that diversity, the signature of the One remains visible to those who know where to look. So here we stand, at the threshold. The method is laid out. The boundaries are clear. The spirit is revealed. In the next video, we will begin the actual journey. We will open the first gate, the gate of number 1. We will explore what it means to say that one is the source of all numbers, and what that might teach us about the source of all existence. But for now, I leave you with this question. Are you ready to see numbers not as cold symbols, but as mirrors reflecting eternal truths? If your answer is yes, then subscribe to this channel. Join me in this exploration. And let's discover together what mathematics might reveal about God. Thank you for being here. This is Agus, and this is OK Finding God Through Math. Numbers are mirrors, not the face itself. Mathematics is the path, not the destination. And in every pattern, there is a trace of the One. See you in the next gate.